Here's the part of leadership that most people don't talk about. Most frontline leaders, like many leaders, are so busy surviving the day that they don't stop to decide where they're actually going. If reflection feels like a luxury you don't have, then stay right here. Okay, Clarissa, most leaders think reflection is something you do after the real work is done.
Oof. The truth is, reflection is the work that makes better decisions in the moment. It creates stronger teams and ultimately clearer leadership possibilities.
So, today inside the PLC, we're unpacking reflection and vision and why frontline leaders need to develop these skills right now.
Oh, and I have a story about this one, Jayson. It's what happens when reflection doesn't happen. So, there's a leader in our PLC community, newly appointed, has a new team, was once peers to these individuals, and is really working hard to make this come together. So there's one-on-ones with her direct reports. There's one-to-ones with the people that are supervising her. And she looked at her calendar and says, all I have are meetings. I am getting nothing done. I am exhausted. I am frustrated. They're not happy. I'm not happy. And I just have to keep going because there's so much to do. And I don't know if that's ever been you, but that's certainly been me. And what it really showed me and shone a light on is that there was no pause. There was no meaning making. There was no intentional vision. There was just execution, execution, execution. And there's a miss there. Nothing changes except the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the we've said many times before to leaders, senior leadership teams, new leaders, that the raging torrent of pace will erode all of the good things first. And I don't think we realize how much we're drowning in motion and busyness. And when we do, I don't think we realize how much we're starving for meaning, the meaning of our work, the meaningful things that fulfill us.
Absolutely. And then when we take those moments and we just need to disconnect or decompress, how many of us choose novel stimuli?
Mhm.
So we're listening to the newest podcast, we're doom scrolling on social media, we're liking new things. And it's a little escape. We just need a little break because the reflection seems like too far and we've already just been in our heads all day trying to survive. And this isn't a time management issue. This is about making meaning because if we create that space, you'll actually find that there's energy there. We've talked about boredom before and the importance of it, space for space. Reflection can allow space for you to be able to create something new or different. The thing
Mhm.
is, I think about reflection and how I had a hard time with it. And it started with one sentence. I wrote one sentence at the end of the day, the thing I wanted to remember the most, the thing I wanted to repeat, the thing I didn't want to repeat. And it started simple because reflection doesn't have to mean you replay everything that went wrong.
Mhm.
That is not what
Well,
reflection means.
maybe what might be helpful is defining reflection. We're going to talk about why reflection's important, vision's important, but what is reflection to you?
Reflection to me is kind of three prongs. What happened? So what? What's it? And now what? So
Mhm.
what? So what? Now what? Exercise is a learning model. It's our really compressed version of our AIR model for learning, and it allows me to look at what actually happened, fly on the wall. What did I make it mean? And what needs to change next time if I want to keep it or leave it?
Mhm.
So it's a chance to just take a step back and actually observe from
Yeah.
hindsight.
We often say to senior leaders that real reflection is a master skill. What makes it important for frontline leaders?
Well, one is that reflection is a practice skill. And if it's your first time being a frontline leader and you haven't had it as a habitual practice as an individual contributor, it's your first time to flex that muscle. And the chances are, if you're a frontline leader now, there's a chance you are going to go up. And the more you take on responsibility, there's a weight to it. It's just not opportunity. You get to make real impact. And if you want a meaningful life or have meaning in your work and you're not reflecting, you're going to miss the opportunity to even relish in the good that's happening, in the
Yeah.
meaning that's happening. What makes reflection important for you, Jayson?
Well, I just think the nuggets of wisdom that are here every day.
Mm.
We If we don't capture those, then it's so easy to lose ourself in the motion that we're engaged in. And so you said it's a muscle. Reflection's important because when we find the way for us to reflect right and in a meaningful way, it reinforces the things that are important to us. It allows us to steer away from the things that aren't, and increases the likelihood that we are a more authentic and true version of our own leadership. Because so many leaders, if we don't develop the muscle, somehow find themselves down the line going, is this who I truly am? How did I end up on this course? And that's the last thing that we want.
How often do we hear something come out of our mouths that was a parent, a coach, and we ask ourselves, how did we wind up being this way? It's a way
Yeah.
you wound up. And to your point, if you're not reflecting on it, if you don't know if you want to keep it or release it, then you're letting your environment dictate your identity and you're removing agency. You are now a passive recipient of who you want to be or who you think you want to be rather than an active agent. So allow yourself the opportunity to create yourself as you want to be. And most leaders want to go into the world because they want to make impact, they want to make change, they want to make a difference. But if you're not taking the time to reflect, you don't actually know if it's the difference you want to make.
Well, you just said something there. Most leaders want to step into that role because of that. Well,
Mm.
some, but I think without reflection and vision, many step into a leadership position because it's a bump in compensation. It's a bump in authority, and that it feels good. But this is exactly why reflection and vision is important, because is this the right role for me? How
Mm.
many people a decade into a management or leadership position go, I just want to be a subject matter expert? You have to like people. You have to want to bring out the best in people if you choose to step into a leadership position.
And you have to be willing to have a target on your back. You have to be
Exactly.
willing to self sacrifice, fall on the sword, make tough decisions, and go first, go beside, and go last.
And is this something I truly want? Reflection and vision, they
Mm.
both play a role to prevent the self abandonment. Taking
Yes.
on things because I think I should or other people want me to do it is
Mm.
very important. But where do leaders get reflection wrong?
Oh, well, primarily by not doing it, I
Yeah.
would say. And also, when you're reflecting from a place of otherness, it's important to see yourself in community. But if your reflection is contingent on the standards, metrics, expectations other people set, you're missing that opportunity to ask yourself, is this really what I'm going to stand for?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
I want to be part of this?
I would agree. If your reflection is transactional and
Mm.
you skip the identity work, not just, hey, here are the things that I did and here's what worked, here's what didn't, but also the important identity work. Who was I showing up in this way? How do I want to be? Which bridges it to vision. But that identity work is crucial.
Well, and it's one of those things you'll hear Andrew Huberman talk about it. You hear a lot of neurosciences talk about it. When you have an identity around something, and I am a non-smoker. I never reach for a cigarette. My identity is non-smoker. Like I don't have that. And so when you have an identity and you're clear on it and it matters to you, it actually changes the behaviors you do in real life. I am
Hmm.
I'm lacking patience. So the thing I'm creating is I am a patient mother.
Hmm.
I am a patient mother. So what would a patient mother do? It has me ask in the moment, because reflection isn't at the end, it's in the middle. What would a patient mother do? What would a patient leader do? What would an innovative leader do? And so in the moment when you can look at your identity and ask what that version of your identity would decide to do. And a decision is to cut something off. It's an opportunity to say that part is dead. The impatient part is dead in this moment. The patient part is choosing.
Hmm.
And you can do that with any quality of your leadership, any whether it's inside your business, your work, your family, when you have an identity and you are willing to make a decision and willing to cut something off, you're going to get in the practice of doing and showing up as the version of yourself you actually want to be.
So there are two things that you said I want to underscore. One, notice the questions you're asking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But then here's my question to you. A lot of those questions you're talking about as reflection questions, but they're also vision questions. So what's the difference between reflection and vision?
Have you ever looked at a mirror? It's both a reflection of what is there but simultaneously you're seeing. So two things can occur at the same time with the same question, even though they feel like they could be one more past tense, one more future tense. And I don't know, I feel like it's more of a gradient than it is distinction. We talked about at the beginning of this podcast that reflection doesn't happen at the end. If you wait till the end, it's a heavy lift. You got to remember a lot. But if you're doing it incrementally, it allows you to confirm the behavior, the choice, the idea, or correct it. So what I would offer is that reflection gives you sight, and sight allows you to go towards your vision because there's clarity around that. What would
Yeah.
you add?
Well,
How do you see it differently?
in the peer learning community, when we're working with leaders, we have this session in December because that's generally when there's the space for reflection and vision. But what I don't want people to think is that that's when you do reflection and vision. Because reflection and vision are an ongoing muscle. It's like a fitness.
Mm-hmm.
When you reflect in the right way, you ask yourself, is this vision still true? What needs to be different? And they are ongoing things. And so the question is, how do you do reflection and vision the right way?
Well, firstly, I would say vision is not goals handed down. If you want meaningful vision, it comes from reflecting and knowing what you think you want. Because to your point, Jayson, you got to test it. Is this true? Lab coat mentality, put it on. I like cross country skiing. I don't like cross country skiing. Like, try it on, see what it's like. I like
Yeah.
leading from the front. I don't like leading from the front. It's not prescriptive. So, goals in vision are not the same. You can have goals within your vision, but a vision is more wide cast, step back, high definition picture. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would I be thinking? What would I be saying? What would I be doing? That would make the next 52 weeks, or maybe chop it down, next 90 days.
90 days. Yeah. The next
90
quarter.
days. Next quarter. What am I going to practice? What's going to be different? I'm going to do one-to-ones more. I'm going to do one-to-ones less. Here's how I'm going to show up in those one-to-ones. I want to go back to your question on what's the difference or what's important about it. It's clarity and knowingness. And
Yeah.
it's not, I can articulate it perfectly. Sometimes it's a tuning fork. You know your people, sometimes when you walk in a room, you're like, that person, don't even know that person's name. And you can almost beeline for that person. So you can do that with ideas, with habits, practices, the way you sign off your emails, create some internal level of resonance. You are allowed to use your body and your senses to discern that vision. Because sometimes it takes a little bit to perfectly articulate it. Ask how many brands have rebranded, trying to find the perfect tagline. They feel it out.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily know what it is. And then when they get there, they know. So you're allowed to experience it and say, that's it, or that's closer.
And when it comes to personal vision, leadership vision, I want to reinforce that's it for now. Because
Yeah.
when new information emerges, I think people get stuck in this space of, I can't change my vision. Where what is your vision? Your vision is an idea, something that pulls your energy forward, and it becomes a filter for how I make decisions. What are the experiments I'm making? What are the bets that I'm placing? And saddled beside reflection, it now becomes two very complementary forces that are feedback mechanisms that we continue to orient or reorient around.
Absolutely. Let yourself evolve is what I got out of that. Let yourself
Exactly.
evolve. And something's going to change in your life. Something's going to change. It could be a really exciting thing. It could be a really tough thing. And it might change your priorities, it might change your perspective, and it is ultimately it's an opportunity for you to say, is this vision still true for me?
Mm. Well, something I want to hit on that you said is when curveballs show up, another element of vision is what's the kind of leader I want to be when things aren't working
Yeah.
well is also a powerful part of vision. But we need to wrap this conversation up. So
Yes.
if there's a lens that you want people to consider when it comes to reflection and vision, things stimulated from our peer learning community discussions, what would you offer?
Oh, there's so many good ones from the group. What I would offer is that take the time, give yourself the opportunity and the privilege of asking, how do I want to show up and who do I want to be?
Mm.
And do it daily. One sentence reflection. What went well? What didn't go well? What would I keep? What would I leave? Pick a sentence and just write it. And allow yourself to go back 90 days from now and look at all of those 90 sentences you wrote
Yeah.
and see what was actually true. Our
Mm.
memory will lie to us. So don't
Mm.
let your memory lie to
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. Mine is very similar. What's your reflection and vision system? Don't think of it as a one-off thing. As you said before, this is a muscle. So how do we build it into our system? Like in our discussion before we started recording this, what makes annual reviews so hard? Oh, now we have to go back and think to remember. Well, don't do that to yourself. What's your daily reflection, your end of the week reflection? These are 5-10 minute exercises that when they compound over the year, you are compounding your wisdom, you're course correcting your vision, reorienting to your vision. And this is a muscle that will differentiate the leaders who are influencing and having impact and those that are scrambling.
And this is not perfect. This is not a perfect, this is a practice.
Yeah.
And so if you're stepping into this, you can be vegan and eat bacon. Where, right? Like if veganism is too hard for you, be a vegan and eat bacon.
Yeah.
Or if you're tired and you can't give 100% at the gym, go and give 50.
Yeah.
It's a practice, not a perfect.
Okay. Frontline leadership is not about having all the answers. It's about having the clarity, the courage to pause, reflect, and choose what matters next. In the next discussion, Clarissa and I have around PLC conversations, we're going to explore communicating with impact when the tension is high and the alignment matters. So make sure you follow us so you don't miss it. Thanks, Clarissa.